In this series of videos, we're going to be going over the basics of pricing t-shirts. I'm going to be using a couple of tools here to kind of demonstrate that. One of them is I'm going to be using this calculator called Calc Tape to kind of show some of the basic math that goes on. And we're also going to be using a program called T5 by ShopCal Software. It's a software that we develop. And the reason that we're going to use that is because we're going to demonstrate how you can put a lot of these concepts in use in a program such as T5 and some of the other programs out there that are offered by other vendors could possibly utilize this as well. But anyway, you can always do it all by hand on a piece of paper or try to build a spreadsheet to do it. But anyway, the thing that we're going to go over here right now is initially you need to decide whether or not you're going to price using markups or whether you're going to use margins. And I'm going to basically take it that most of you, if you're just getting into the t-shirt decorating business, you're probably using markups because it's just simpler. It's something you know. Even if you don't know that that's what you're using, you're probably using that method for pricing shirts. This is because most normal calculators, when you add percentages in, they're doing it in the method that would be a markup. There is a few inherent problems with using markup that you don't have with margin, but they are different in the percentage numbers that you use. So what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of go over a couple of little scenarios here real quick. Using the margin, if we want to calculate a sale price with a 60% margin on an item that cost us $100 to produce or buy or whatever, but our end cost to manufacture that item is $100, and we want to get a 60% margin on it. If we were doing the math by hand, we would take the $100 and we would divide it by 1 minus 60 divided by 100 equals $250. Now that sounds complicated. And you go, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hit the percent key on the calculator. But it's really not that complicated. If we look back down again, we come in here and we say that same deal I stated right there can be shortened here, because anytime we're dealing with percentages, it's a decimal point. So in this case, we've got $100 divided by 1 minus 0.60. It still equals the $250. Now most calculators, unless you've got a really good one or want to use all the memory keys, you're not going to do that. But the main thing is that 1 minus 0.6 is 0.4. It's the same thing as if you took 100 and subtracted 60, you would have 40. Then you divide it by 100, you get 0.4. So 60%, which is 0.60, from 1 is 0.40. So we've now taken this down to a very simple calculation of $100 divided by 0.40, and we still get our $250. And you're saying, well, oh, that's fine and dandy, but it still seems like a lot of trouble. If we go over here, we're going to look in this side up here. Here is our calculation using the margin, and we're using the 0.40. We're just taking it simplified in here. So we've got our $100 divided by 0.40, which is equal to the 1 minus 60, and we get a $250 sale price. Now, if we're using margins and we want to get the same thing, 60% margin is the same thing as 150% markup. So that's why we're using a different percentage here, because we want the numbers to come out the same. So if we take our $100 and we add 150% to it, so we're adding $150, we get to $250. So we end up with the same figure there. Now here's where things can go arise with you if you ever run into a situation where you're given a discount or you're trying to back calculate down. If we take our $250 item and we subtract our 60% margin from it, we just minus 60%. We get $100. We get our starting $100 that we started with. But if we take that same $250 and we subtract our 150% to get back down and see where we started from, we actually come up with a minus $225. So this is where you can really hurt yourself out there. If you've got an item, you mark it up using markup, and then you're going to reduce it down. You got to really be careful, because otherwise you're losing a lot of money, or you're actually paying the customer to take it from you. So this is a simplified example of markups and margins, and in which to use. You can use either one. You just need to understand what they're doing. So now we're going to go over to T5, and we're going to look at how we can put all this to play. And you got to remember, when you're using a program like T5 or one of the other ones out there, they're doing all this heavy math in the background for you, but you still need the basic understanding, because there's some settings that you need to make, and you want to come up with the values that you want. So it's understanding those settings. We'll pick up how to actually use this in a program like ShopCal T5 in the next video. Be sure and look down in the comments, because I do put from time to time some discount codes that you can use on the site to save quite a bit of money on the purchase of software. So be sure and look in the comments. See you in the next video, where we're going to take this basic information and we're going to actually start using it in a program to calculate the sale price of t-shirts. Thank you.